Welcome to another episode of the Modern Life Podcast. I'm your host, Sam. I'm here with my sister, Tubby, today. We're going to be discussing another movie, The Florida Project, which came out at the end of last year, I believe. And before we get going, just want to let everybody know you can find us on Twitter at Modern Life Pod. If you have questions, give us a shout out. If there's something you want us to discuss, let us know. But yeah, let's dive into it.
So, did you know that the Florida Project was like the name for Walt Disney had for his little venture there?
Yeah,
like,
actually, I pulled up
that.
some movie trivia.
Yeah.
It was like one of the proposed names, right?
I did not know that. And also, Sean Baker, I found out yesterday, the guy who directed this movie, he also directed Tangerine.
Okay.
And that was a movie that was shot on the
With
iPhone.
the iPhone, right? Yeah.
And like as soon as I found that out, it was like the puzzle pieces were clicking into place. Like, of course, this was the guy who did
I never
Tangerine.
saw that movie.
It is such a good movie, and I want to say it's honestly a better movie than the Florida Project too. Like, it is amazing. Just one of the most powerful endings to a movie.
Okay. I'll say right off the bat, and you already know this, but I hated this movie, and it was a mental feat of strength. I had to sit there for almost 2 hours. I hated almost every minute. Like, it was just.
But we're gonna talk about it.
We're gonna
in
talk
an
about it.
intelligent way.
Yes, we are. And it's good to see movies that you don't like. This is like the perfect example of the type of movies I can't stand, but we're gonna talk about it. So
the way. Okay, so Tangerine is named that way because of all the like bright colors that are like in this saturated, like sunlit,
which is another theme in this movie.
Exactly. Like, and it's the use of bright, strong colors without it feeling like you just walked into a kindergarten, or like without it being gaudy, without it feeling like a badly edited like video game that just throws a bunch of colors at you.
Right. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of my problems with the movie. I don't even know where to start, but it was kind of like wide shot, pretty color porn at certain. It's just like, here's a wide shot of this awesome, pretty ice cream stand. We're just gonna have the kids walk through the shot, and it's just, the movie felt more like a documentary to me than like a coherent movie with a plot.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to be like that. It's commentary on the hidden homeless.
How am I supposed to know that? I mean,
you just for watching it.
I guess.
Really, because
but how is it a commentary? It's just kind of documenting it.
But the use of color between the different places was like one of the indicators. I thought that was really well done. Like, the future land is teal and rose, and it's called the Green Place.
Okay.
The Magic Castle is the lavender, the purple place.
That's
the ice cream stand is white.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all fine. It's just.
But it has to do, each color like represents the different mentalities at these places.
Okay.
And also tying in with food. So there's the orange world, right? The grocer, where they sell like all the fruits and.
Right.
But they never stop there. They never eat there. All Mooney eats at home is like
waffles,
pizza and bread and also contrast that with the Green Place, where the grandma is like, they're living in a hotel, but she's making it work. She's got like the crock pot. She's making food in the microwave.
Sure.
She's, and again, like using the color to illustrate like this is the type of food that's available, and also the choices people make in those environments.
I mean, that's all great. It's just, I'm saying as a movie, it doesn't make it a good movie, you know what I mean? And when I Googled this movie, like all the movie review titles, that's the first thing they mention is, oh, it's so colorful. Like, if that's your biggest talking point, that the colors are pretty in the movie.
It uses color in a thematic way. It's not random.
I wish it would use the script as a way to have an actual movie. That would have been better. I mean, I appreciate it. I think that's stuff like that is very complimentary to a movie for me. If you have that, then on top of a great script, characters, a storyline I actually care about, then that's what like elevates a movie to greatness. But if you just have that doesn't make a good movie for me. You know what I mean?
But I felt like the green place and the purple place also did a good job of illustrating the different communities.
Yeah.
Because there's like an immense, like the green place, there's consequences for like the child. The dad is like, you know, there's consequences for that. The grandma who's cooking and taking care of the, you know, her granddaughter, and then also like the dad giving away all the toys, and there's just like more positive atmosphere.
Which, by the way, there was totally
place.
Space in that car for all the toys.
There was space in the car.
If
you
just take it out of the box and actually throw the toys in there, they would have fit.
They would have fit, yeah.
Anyway,
but then like at the purple place, like Bobby drops like the paint, right? And the guy's like, "Oh, you punk ass bitch!" Or like the power goes out and everybody's just like screaming, and it, you know, it's just that contrast between like where these two places are in very similar situations, but here's what each community does with like what they have.
One thing I found out, I mean, I'm sure you saw this. The constant helicopters in the background. I'm like, is this supposed to mean something? Like, what is going on with this? But it's just they didn't have the budget to not have the helicopters in the background.
Yeah, it's only like it was a really low budget.
It was a tiny budget, so they didn't have the money to like buy out those helicopter flights to keep it out of the movie, so they just incorporated it into the movie. Yeah. Little fun fact.
So so many people said that this movie should have been nominated for an Oscar.
No.
We both disagree on that, I believe.
You think it should have been nominated? For what?
No, I actually don't think.
Oh, okay.
I think it's fine. I believe Willem Dafoe definitely earned that nomination.
See, I thought about that. I don't...
You didn't think that was a good performance?
He was great, but like I did not see it as Oscar worthy. I know people are saying like this is one of the best performances he's ever done. I just didn't.
Really, it moved me.
I mean, he was by far my favorite character in the movie, and like really like one of the only characters I cared about. And it's nice to see him in something like this. You know, he's like, I don't know, he's in a lot of, I don't know, just something where he can. I feel like he doesn't get to do these kind of parts a lot. You know?
So this whole movie did not work for you, but I'll tell you where this movie fell apart for me.
Okay.
And it was the mom. I think the movie...
She's a piece of crap.
I think the movie could have been... I have so many notes here just about things that did not work for me about this mother character. So the actress was discovered on Instagram.
Really?
She's never acted before.
Okay.
And
see, I wouldn't have guessed that. I didn't mind her acting. I just hated her character.
What?
Oh, really?
Especially next to Willem Dafoe and also the girl who plays Ashley, who I thought was absolutely amazing.
Huh, okay.
She just was out of her depth.
Really?
Just the constant, like, every reaction was like her mouth open and the squinty eyes. Like, I just thought of that scene at Get Shorty, like, are you tired? Are you like...
No, See, I didn't feel that way at all. It's like, I feel like I've met that person before, the character she's playing, and I totally believed it. Just like this white trash, like, and they always react to everything the same way, always defensive. Because
to me it was a caricature of white trash.
Interesting.
It took it to the next level. It wasn't believable to me. By the time she goes downstairs to beat up Ashley, it's supposed to be this really... captivating moment of like the son watching this happening to his mom, and at that point I just checked out because and if you're looking at some of the interviews with this actress, she says like, everything she does is for her daughter and she's so selfless, and I'm like, did we watch the same movie?
Oh, she said that about her character? Yeah. Oh God.
This wasn't an NPR interview. It's like, she's doing her best, and I'm like, I would not describe that as anyone's best.
No, she's not taking responsibility. I mean, there's that one scene where Willem Dafoe's character points it out to her. He's like, you don't take responsibility for like any of your shit. I'm like, yeah, that's hitting the nail on the head. And
it's just like, you can't make a commentary. If you're gonna make a commentary on the hidden homeless, why? What's the lesson here? That people put themselves in this position with
that's
their
my
own
problem. That's why it's
behavior.
Not a commentary to me. It was just like this movie of like, here's these people and here's what happens, and there was no like, okay, yeah, what's the message? What's the story? Like, it's not a movie to me. Like, I don't know.
It's just like, tell me more about the Latino like laundry worker. Tell me more about the processes that are put in place to keep these people in this position.
Totally.
This woman
that would have been a better movie.
This woman could have been handed like $1 billion. She still would have lived like this. You know, there's nothing you can do of someone who's that abusive all the time, and reacting to everything in this aggressive manner. It's just exhausting to watch. Like,
yeah, I got tired of it like 20 minutes in. I'm like, I feel like I've seen this type of movie before. Just this kind of indie, like, there isn't a real story. It's just here's this world and here's what happens, and here's this white trash lady, and I'm like, I've seen a version of this movie, and I know where this is not going anywhere, but I'm just gonna power through it. And yeah, I think you're right. There's a bunch of other characters I was way more interested in than this main white trash lady. And I feel like there's a version of this movie that has Willem Dafoe as the central character and everything's from his point of view. I feel like that would have been, that's a better movie for me, you know? I don't know. Just exploring his character more.
Yeah, it's just like there are things that the mom does that were surprising, but I don't think she does it because she loves her kids. So when Mooney's asking her, like, Mom, slow down, like, I can't keep up, like, I was expecting the mom to be like, to say something back to her, but instead she just stops her behavior and she, you know, stands still and then starts carrying Mooney the rest of the way. Like, she never takes anything out on her child, but I think that's only because she doesn't want to ever deal with her child's behavior or reprimand her or make her be in the wrong. And the way she uses Mooney as a shield when she's always like soliciting with the kid, or she's like, you're doing this in front of my kid. She's just using Mooney as like another barrier between her and the real world.
That was the first scene I thought was even like remotely powerful. It was an hour, 17 minutes in, and it's when she like first starts this whole prostitution thing, and the guy walks into the bathroom while the kid's taking a bath, right? And you see it all from the kid's perspective, and she like closes the curtain. I'm like, but yeah, that was like a powerful. I'm like, oh yeah, finally. I'm like, that's a scene that got me. I'm like, shit.
I thought it was interesting too because as I'm watching it, I thought, why are there suddenly so many scenes of Mooney in the bathroom? Because it doesn't explain that. And then when you see the guy walking in, I'm like, that's why she's in the bathroom. Like it was well done, definitely.
And the movie gave me a weird vibe from the very beginning. It uses that celebration intro song. Celebrate. First of all, it's like, I'm not a big fan of using these like popular songs that I've seen in 500 different commercials and movies. In movies, like how every Martin Scorsese movie has to have like a Rolling Stones song in it, or you know, like I just like there's so much music out there. Can we like? There's nothing better we can pick? I'm like, okay, whatever. Which, by the way, for a movie that has no budget, they probably blew half of it on that celebration song. But I don't know, like a very strange choice of song, especially in retrospect as you watch the movie. I mean, maybe you have a hot take on it.
No, like, I did write that down.
Why is that song there? I thought it was very strange.
I don't have anything to say about that. But I do want to keep talking about how the entire movie is filmed through the perspective of the kids.
Yeah.
Because it will start a dialogue and then abandon that every time in favor of the kids' perspective.
Right.
So Bobby telling the welfare people to move their truck, all of a sudden that conversation's in the background because Mooney's there getting bread, or the taxi driver walking in to figure out what happens. The door closes and we're not inside the building, we're outside the building because that's where, you know, Mooney's trying to get a tip for carrying these bags upstairs, you know. Yeah, did you enjoy that at all? Or
I don't
it didn't work for you?
No, I don't mind when a movie's from a kid's perspective. I mean, I don't think you've ever seen Stand By Me. I think that's like the best kids movie of all time. I think if it's done right, it's fantastic. But again, there's no like greater message for me here. it just doesn't work for me. I'm sorry.
The only time it does not do that, it does not give up the adult conflict for the kids.
Very end, right?
It's at the child molester scene. You do not stay with the kids at the benches. You follow Bobby to get the soda, to steal the
I'd say that's
driver's
like the best
license.
scene in the movie, honestly.
This
movie was a documentary about how to be a fantastic property manager and how to fall into prostitution.
I actually wrote down like the stuff Bobby has to put up with. Like that was one of my notes.
He is the most amazing. He lives for this complex. He does everything he's told. He does it by the book. He like helps these people out. He's like such a good guy. I'm like, I wanted more of Willem Dafoe.
But
I didn't get enough.
To the point where I'm like, he was too good. He was too good because he kicks people out. But why does he care so much about Haley and Mooney? Yeah. He's willing to pay the $10 at the Arabian Hotel for them to stay there.
Yeah, never explains
really
why.
Goes out of his way. He doesn't kick her out when he finds out that she's, performing prostitution there.
Right.
I'm like, does he care about the Mooney that much that he...
Just care about the kid? I don't know.
Yeah. Also, another interesting thing is...
he cares more about the kid because he starts playing with the kid.
He's also the only person in the movie who knows the kids' names. Everyone else would be like, oh, the girl from the green place, and he's like, oh, hey, Jancy. Like, he knows all the kids' names. Even though the kids call him, like, boring and not fun, they gravitate towards him because he represents, like, sanity, like, reliability, stability, like, all these things kids think they don't want, but that they actually need.
Oh, sure, yeah. By the way, I want to talk about when the Brazilian couple gets there, and they
with the taxi
they booked
driver.
the wrong hotel.
Yeah.
I had a problem with that scene because we're obviously in modern day. They have like iPads. The food truck she goes to has like the square paying tablet, right? This is obviously in modern day, yet there's a million apps where you can get like last minute hotels, and these Brazilian people can't figure it out. I mean, come on.
That happens. Like all of Disneyland is
it's
booked,
so easy. Like
Disney World.
Yeah, there's a million other hotels you can get, and the guy's making it sound like, oh no, this is our only option. We have to stay here. And then the lady's like, I'm not staying here. I'm like, 2017, there's like a million ways to get a hotel. You're in like one of the biggest cities in Florida. I'm sure you can figure something out. But that's all I was thinking during that scene.
The other time when this movie creates drama and it's not natural is when Ashley tells Haley that there's this conflict between them, and she doesn't want Scooter to hang out with.
Yeah,
it's like why would you not just be straight up? You've been straight up this whole time. Why is this a secret?
They like.
And then she goes to the waffle place, and like they don't know why they're fighting, and I'm like.
And that's the thing. It's like this movie where you have characters that are pieces of garbage, and you have good characters, but everyone, no matter what spectrum you're on, everyone's kind of dysfunctional in their own way, and just I didn't really buy like these two best friends aren't gonna like talk. It didn't even seem like nobody got hurt from the burning of that building that the kids started. So why wouldn't they just, hey,
why is this a secret?
Yeah, like why I didn't get why that's a big deal. And you're right, it's just like creating drama sometimes, and I hate that kind of stuff.
The other thing that I felt was trying to be a commentary but fell completely flat was the thing about the prostitution and the way Americans view it. It's not a normal thing. It's not a normal job. It's not. There's this very Christian, dirty mentality about sex workers.
Well, she gets like outcast the second everyone finds out about it.
Right. But then also that when she gets pregnant, why is she keeping the child? Like, what are you trying to tell me about this? When Haley gets pregnant. That's why she's vomiting. That's why the Latina laundry work, that's why she gives away the pot. Wow,
I
man.
didn't catch any of that.
You were checked out already.
I was so like, I'm just trying to get through
There's two reasons people vomit in pregnancy
or
cancer.
You're right. Who said that? Somebody said that, and then I told that to you. was like it was on some other podcast. The guy was like, yeah, there's only 2 reasons people ever vomit. Wow, I totally didn't get that.
But it's like, what are you trying? Because health plans offered under the Affordable Care Act, they only cover abortion if the woman's life is endangered or it's incest or so can she not afford it? Are you trying to tell me she's not educated and, you know, her sex ed is lacking, which is definitely a problem. Like, why would she not know that she was getting pregnant when she's having unprotected sex? You know, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say something about contraception? Why is she keeping this child?
This movie to me doesn't say much of anything, and it's not a movie to me. There's no real plot. It's just, I mean, I'd say I probably enjoyed the last 10 minutes of the movie the most, because now it's actually like, okay,
something's happening.
There's actually some consequences to action. Something's actually happening. Like, just the whole process of how this happens, you don't see really a lot or ever in movies. I'm like, this is interesting. Like, I like this, but. And
also, you can show that stuff without making a big deal about it. And I thought back to Aziz Ansari's Plan B episode, right? The episode starts off.
Oh yeah, I think it's the first episode.
It's the first episode in the first series. Yeah. And they're not sure about some sexual act, and they just stop everything to Google it. And I'm like, this is interesting. This is about like 2 people not knowing something. It's saying something about sex ed. It's saying, you know, I'm like, you just need that one scene, and what this movie tried to do, that scene accomplished, you know, in like a minute.
Yeah, but I guess I should explain, if anyone hasn't seen the movie, in the last 10 minutes, you know, what, like, child services comes, and they, like, start taking their kid away, and I'm like, I found that to be completely intriguing in the way Willem Dafoe kind of reacts to it. He, like, hates what's going on, but he's also kind of, like...
It's the best thing to happen to Mooney.
Yeah, exactly, but that was a great 10 minutes, but how do you feel about the very ending? This is what I want to talk to you about.
I talked to somebody at work about this.
So what happens? So child services comes, and what's the kid's name? Mooney?
Yeah.
She runs away to her friend in the other complex.
I actually watched this with the subtitles because I was having trouble understanding some of the kids' lines. And when Jancy and Mooney
Jancy's
hold
her friend
hands
in the other complex,
and they run away together.
Right.
In the subtitles it says like fun chase music starts or something, right? Like the tone of the movie completely
I was like, what is happening?
Changes. And I was telling somebody at work, I'm like, I've never been to Disney World, but even Disneyland, we had to take like a bus to get from our lodgings.
Oh, it's completely unrealistic, and I think
they can't just run there.
No, I think it tries to be on purpose.
That's what he was saying too. Like he's like, no, it's almost like a dream sequence of like escaping everything.
So that's the way I thought of it. Actually, so when you watch it on Amazon and you pause it, Amazon has all these trivia things, and it tells you who the actors are in the scenes. It says actually in the very last scene, it goes. The hotel that this is filmed at
distance
is 5 miles away, and you would have to park here and actually take a bus and obviously go through security. And the trivia was saying it's obviously trying to be unrealistic, and I'm like, yeah, because that's the same thing I was thinking. I'm like, you don't just run into Disney World. I don't know if I liked it or not. It was like. I'm like, is the movie trying to give you some sort of message in there, like, hey, this is what a childhood should be like kind of free of this worry, and like, hey, let's go to Disney World, or what's the message? It's like a dream sequence, basically, right? I mean, it's not in the way I see it. Like, this is not actually happening. So it's like, is Mooney imagining this? Is she like, because she puts?
I think you're overthinking it.
She puts. She has this really tough outer shell, obviously, just from the way she's brought up, and she's cursing everybody. She's like, F you, bitch!
Hey, lady!
And she's flaking people up. And so it's like, is underneath that, is there kind of this desire to be like, actually have a childhood? Maybe I'm reading into it too much. Which, you can't tell me what the message is, which, again, is a flaw of the movie, because... If you're saying I'm overthinking this, then there's really no message to this movie.
No, it's just sometimes I don't need to like tear things apart. They just are what they are. But I do want to talk about that last 10 minutes of the child services coming in, and it just cracked me up because we constantly talk about modern child worship and modern parenting.
Right.
And when the supporter comes down like, oh, watch those steps. Like she hasn't walked down those steps like every day a million times. Like, oh no, she's running away. Like she's running around like all the time. Like children aren't meant to be like supervised 24/7 like a glass cage. Like they're capable of walking down steps.
Complete fail. Like the lady eats shit down the stairs.
Oh, that
and
looked
loses
brutal.
the kid. Like, oh, someone's getting fired after this. Dude, really bad to lose the kid when you're taking it away from the parent. One fun fact is in the very last scene before the two kids run to Disney World, I keep forgetting her name, Mooney. Mm-hmm. I think it was Mooney's T-shirt says BFF on it because she's like going to her best friend for help, right?
I did not catch that.
That was a little fun fact.
It's interesting what you said about the kids not having a childhood because I thought they actually made the most of it. Like everything is a game to them. Like cleaning the car is like
because they actually get to like roam around. They're not being watched 24/7. Yeah. Which, by the way, there's a scene where they run to the tree and they have jelly sandwiches. Did they bury the jelly? But where did this giant glass jar of jelly come from? We don't know. Because you're seeing them walk up, they only have the bread in their hand.
They only have the bread. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But, the jelly jar's like already half empty, so I think it's just something they hid there and they go there to have
Tom Sawyer style.
I guess so. Fun fact for you, Willem Dafoe spent a week living in the filming area before production in order to immerse himself in the life of the characters and master the nuances of the regional dialect. So basically,
you're telling me he did the work he was supposed to do for 1 week. I think this is part of being an actor.
Well, I don't know if he mastered the dialect, but...
Okay, I need to expand about something else between the two, the green place and the purple place.
Okay.
And that is about the media they consume. So Jancy at one point says like, oh, you don't watch the news? You don't watch the weather forecast? Right. And what we see, again, I watched this with the subtitles on. So Mooney asking her mom to turn off the TV. Like the TV's going and it just says like underneath infomercials blaring. At one point when Mooney is trying to fall asleep on the TV, there are just these puppets pointing firearms at each other. So the media they consume is entirely different also.
Interesting.
Like saying again that the
catch any of that.
green place is better than the purple place.
Okay. Yeah, what else? What else did I write down here? I mean,
You were over it.
Honestly, I was over it 5 minutes in.
5 minutes in.
I came out and I told you about it. It was like 5 minutes into the movie. The first scene is just these piece of shit kids spitting on this lady's car. I saw the whole next 2 hours flash before my eyes. I'm like, I know this type of movie, and I already don't want to watch it.
I think it had value.
What's the value?
I think it had value.
Please tell me the value. The value to me is I didn't know that stuff like this was happening, so I learned that, but again,
it's just the focus was misplaced for me once again. The caricature of white trash, that for me was like the mistake.
Again, like I've seen this white trash character a million times. Like there was like other. I just think there's better versions of this movie where it's like you could focus on like a character for 10 minutes and then go to the next character and like their life. Or there's a version where everything's from Willem Dafoe's perspective, or maybe like I don't know. There's a better movie in here, and I guess part of me is upset that I didn't see that movie. It's like wasted potential. I don't know.
Oh, and it does say some significant things about class without being preachy.
Right.
Like that one line where he says, you can't fuck with tourists. Like that line is all you need to symbolize like people with money, tourists are on a different level. Like we're down here like you can't mess with tourists because like there's different consequences of messing with those types of people than like going over,
Okay.
messing with the kids from the green place or whatever.
Interesting. Okay.
And also one of my favorite quotes was, "This woman in here thinks she's married to Jesus." When like Mooney's going around like introducing all the
Wait, which
doors.
part was that?
She's like showing Jancy like all the different doors and all the different
Right.
apartments. And she's like, "This woman in here thinks she's married to Jesus."
Yeah. That was funny.
Thought that was cute.
Yeah, I don't know what else there's to say about this movie. I wish there was more. And again, if like all the positive reviews I saw was just, oh, it's a beautiful movie and the colors pop at you, and it's like, if
It was a good use of color.
that's fine. But if that's your main selling point, like, sorry.
All right.
You lost.
Next up, we'll be talking about Fast and the Furious. Something
No, we don't know what we're gonna do next, but
completely devoid of any commentary.
Oh my god, I'm not. As I said, I like movies like this if they're done right. I don't have a problem with it. Do I love action movies? Yes, but again, there's a better version of this movie I would like to watch.
It's weird because Tangerine is that movie.
Okay,
is that
maybe I'll
movie
have to watch
done
that.
right? It's so powerful.
Right.
It's in this understated way of just examining, people's lives and actually making a commentary on what it's like to be a sex worker.
Right.
Great movie. Tangerine.
Tangerine.
Also probably like one of the best like unintentional commercials for iPhones. Just saying how good that movie looks. It's all shot on
but they put like
iPhone.
crazy lenses on it still.
Do they?
Oh god, yeah. It's not, if you look it up, it's not just the iPhone. There's like a whole giant thing they put around it to stabilize it, and then it's like these crazy lenses you attach to the actual iPhone.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's not just
Fascinating.
It's not just the iPhone.
Should have talked about that.
Like
should have
those,
talked about that movie.
Like, you remember those giant billboards they had here in LA that was like shot on an iPhone? It was these beautiful panoramic pictures.
It wasn't just the iPhone.
Yeah, it was shot on an iPhone, but it had like a giant lens attached to it. So yeah.
Fake news.
Fake news, man. Okay, we'll leave you guys with one last fun fact. It was such a fun movie. In a 2017 interview, the director clarified that the film's garish motel settings are genuine motels, and they continued operating as working businesses during filming, and some real-life residents and staff are seen in the film.
Oh, really? It's not all actors, huh?
No, which I think just solidifies my view that this was a documentary and not a feature film. It was just like, hey, we're at this motel. Let's keep the cameras rolling and see what happens. And I have a few ideas of some scenes, but I don't have a real script. That's what it felt like to me. But if anyone wants to know how to be a fantastic property manager, watch this movie and you watch Willem Dafoe. He's picking up every can, putting it in the trash, he's cleaning the pool,
getting the birds out of there
24/7. He's crushing it. You should get a raise.
It's not gonna happen though. It's not gonna happen.
Oh, and by the way, those Indian people across the street, that their shit together. They're like, no more of this white trash. We're running a legitimate business here. Exactly. Much more interesting. I'm like, oh yeah, these people, they got their shit together. You go.
Grand
no
reopening.
More discounts.
Which was like $10. Which is like a lot to those people. I mean, to me, it's ridiculous to haggle over $10.
It's not. Know? It's when you're talking about a $45 hotel room, $10 is what, like almost a quarter of the price. That's a big discount.
But I also felt like she's just screaming about it just to have something to scream about. Everything she had to pick apart and make
the main character.
Yeah, Haley make into a conflict. Well, she wasn't the main character. Mooney was, but she just wants something to yell about, and maybe there are people out there whose entire reaction and whose entire being is this constant negativity, looking for conflict. Like, I don't know. Is that really part of human nature?
Well,
though?
You have a man child, and this was like a woman child to me, where it's just like, She doesn't take responsibility, and it's like me, and this is what I want, and why can't I have it?
And
it's just like, oh.
No, but NPR said she's a selfless mom.
This is an empowering movie for all mothers. No. Yeah, I don't know if that actor read the script, if there was a script.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I hated this movie so much.
It's okay.
So yeah, I think that's all that has to be said about that movie. Again, you can find us on Twitter @ModernLifePod. Thanks for Tubby. Yeah, we'll catch you guys soon.